Welcome back to the SEO Weekly, where queries are weird, advice is controversial, and everything depends. I'm your host, Garrett Sussman of the iPullrank agency, and 2021 is over. SEO did not die. We made it. It's been a couple of weeks, but there is a ton of 2021 roundup content to still dive into. There's an awesome list going around of in-house SEOs to follow on Twitter, and this Twitter thread, this fundamental question of, are Google search results broken? Are the results just crap at this point? Let's dive in. While there weren't a ton of Google updates over the last couple of weeks, Microsoft Bing actually delivered a brand new WordPress plugin for IndexNow. For those who aren't familiar, IndexNow is the ability for you to easily submit your URLs to get indexed on Bing and Yandex like almost instantaneously, and now you can do it via WordPress. Really nifty plugin. It's so good that apparently Google is checking out, thinking about the tech, thinking about the ways that they can do something like that, because we all know indexing on Google can be a little frustrating from time to time. In the most recent office hours, John Mueller actually gave some advice around whether you should both migrate your website to a new domain and drop AMP at the same time. Hat tip to Glenn Gabe for pointing this out, but basically what John Mueller said is, want to change domain names and drop AMP? Be very careful when combining multiple variables. Site changes domain names, drops AMP, and loses all top stories visibility for 3+ months, still not back. John Mueller says give it more time, it could work itself out. So when you have a lot of variables, you don't know exactly why you might have seen a huge impact. So when you're making a massive change like that, probably not great to do it all at once. So it's good advice, it's something to think about, especially when you're taking on a massive migration undertaking. So on the second, Y Combinator, Michael Seibel put out this Twitter thread that was really interesting based on his own personal experience, and it generated a lot of conversation. Controversy or not, it's really interesting, his insights around search results and how, for a health-related situation, they were problematic. In his Twitter thread, he said, "A recent small medical issue has highlighted how much someone needs to disrupt Google search. Google is no longer producing high-quality search results in a significant number of important categories. Health, product reviews, recipes are 3 categories I searched today where top results featured clickbait sites riddled with crappy ads. I'm sure there are many more. Feel free to reply to the thread with the categories where you no longer trust Google search results. I'm pretty sure the engineers responsible for Google search aren't happy about the quality of results either. I'm wondering if this isn't really a tech problem, but the influence of some suit responsible for quarterly ad revenue increases. What would a paid version of Google search results look like? Where Google can just try to give me the best possible results and not be worried about generating revenue. Also, how can a search category be SEO'd into ruin? Isn't search engine optimization supposed to produce better results? Doesn't Google exclusively control the results it displays? The more I think about this, the more it looks like classic short-term thinking. Juice ad revenue in the short run, open the door to complete disruption in the long run. This is why no software incumbent is truly protected from startup disruption. Inevitably, the rot of a bad incumbent product starts from within. Does search have network effects? Sure. Knowing what everyone is searching for and which results they click on allows Google to produce better results for me. In another way, it doesn't. I get no direct benefit if you are using the same search engine as I am. We don't interact with each other directly through search, so if the search results being displayed are no longer high quality, isn't the network effect broken? Now, obviously, so the thing with Michael is he has a large following, and because this got a lot of kind of uproar in the community from both tech and startup and SEOs alike, Danny Sullivan actually chimed in, and his response was this: "Sorry to hear this. We're always looking to keep improving our results. If you're comfortable sharing any of the queries you found disappointing, happy to pass those on so we can look into them. We can't and don't fix specific queries. all results are generated automatically. But by looking at specific examples, it can help us understand how to make general improvements to our automated systems. Now, the conversation that Michael's bringing up is absolutely important and relevant. And I don't know about you, but I've experienced this as well, especially for what's considered YMYL, your money, your life types of results with financial or medical or reviews. If you're getting crap results, that's problematic. Now, Michael does implicate the idea that maybe money has something to do with it, and that very much could be the case. In fact, a bunch of privacy-focused search engines dove into the conversation as well, kind of throwing their hat in the ring, highlighting that if they're not ad-supportive, they might be producing better results. So for instance, Neeva, which is an ad-free search engine platform that's been gaining a little steam. First off, none of these have really kind of taken any sort of Google's market share. Another one is you.com, and then a third one, which was interesting, it was more a reflection of the health results for academically sourced search engines, was illicit.org. All of these folks have really good points. I'm curious to hear what you would think, whether you'd be willing to pay for something like Google if it actually gave you better results and didn't result in the ads. Do you see bad results? I even seen this recently with the product reviews, which, in December, Google was trying to update to make better, and they said that rollout had been completed. I don't know about you, but I still see crappy results when it comes to product reviews. E-commerce, I feel like on Google is still broken. It's something that they need to continue to iterate on, but whatever rolled out in the product review update to me didn't feel like it necessarily solved the problem. They're still a long way off. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Meanwhile, Jason Parks on Twitter, so he reached out to the community and he said, who are the in-house SEOs that you must follow? And he put together a list of 45 different people across a whole range of different companies. And I think it's really interesting to think about in-house SEO because it's a different animal than if you're working freelance, or if you're working in an agency. When you become intimately involved with a business and you understand, to some extent at least, all the decisions that are being made, your prioritization and your approach to SEO and your strategizing in terms of knowing your competitors can be significantly more in-depth than someone who's just, jumping from site to site. So, while someone who has an experience with a bunch of different sites has value from seeing like a lot of what's out there and being able to compare and build an experience that way, being in-house, you really know your site extremely well, which has a lot of advantages. So check out Jason's list. That's linked in the description. So Viral Content Bee had their weekly VC Buzz chat on Twitter, and the topic was the science of content development, and the guest was Gabriella Sannino. Gabriella has been in the industry forever. She's worked with a ton of content. She is so smart when it comes to this stuff. One question and answer that I thought was really interesting is they asked her, content SEO now versus 10 years ago, how is content different these days? And she said, content has and will always be important as long as people search on the web. Google got better at figuring things out. BERT, EAT, conversational user interfaces to mobile searches near me, they're constantly making things easier for the user. The competition wasn't near as fierce as it is today. Ranking nowadays takes more than just a few articles. It takes commitment to a strategy that has to be continuously monitored, tweaked, updated, along with all of Google's capricious updates. Great advice. The whole Twitter thread, the VC Buzz thread was fantastic. A lot of great insights from Gabriella. Check out the rest of Viral Content Bee's VC Buzz Twitter thread. There's a lot more there, and there's actually a great article where they kind of sum it all up for you to reference more easily. So John Shehata of Condé Nast put together a really great 2022 prediction article. Bear with me because I like them. But all around news SEO. And he asked a bunch of folks that are working in-house at various publications and media outlets what they predict was going to happen in 2022 and what news SEO folks should focus on when it comes to, what they're doing day in and day out. So what he found was the TLDR. Tobias Woolman found that Google Discover will remain a very important traffic driver to the majority of publishers. Christine Liang thinks that search will become a lot more visual with more visibility of images, short videos, and web stories. John himself thinks that short videos will gain more visibility in search. Barry Adams believes that evergreen content will become an important editorial strategy for many publishers as a source of sustainable traffic. Lily Ray believes that topical EAT, trust and authority within specific topical areas, will continue to grow. Matthew Brown found that topical organization and clustering can lead to significant traffic increases from both top stories and Discover. Dan Smolin both found that migrating off AMP will continue to spread among publishers and that IndexNow, as referenced earlier, will gain more popularity and Google will join. SEOs will become more and more complex. Greg Jarbo thinks that increased focus on creators, shopping, and videos. Dan again thinks that tech giants will have more legal battles with publishers. That's probably likely. Claudio E. Cabrera and Justin Bank both feel that Google will continue to improve on its SERP features, expanding news, live blogs, and evergreen SERP features for big news moments and live events. Speedy and good UX website, Web Vitals, will still be one of the big topics in news SEO. And then finally, John thinks that publishers will continue to innovate on smarter paywalls and affiliate revenue. I think with news SEO, that last point is very relevant because, the news industry has really had to adapt from ad-driven revenue to subscription-driven revenue and dealing with paywalls and the technical responsibilities there while also not killing their own SEO. Everyone goes more into depth in that article, but great roundup from John. Definitely check that out. In the local space, Miriam Ellis, who writes for Moz, put together her 2022 local SEO success, the year of everywhere. She listed out 7 different things that she thinks that local SEO should focus on going forward, and more specifically, local businesses as they approach SEO, take into consideration all these local marketing techniques. She listed them out. Converse with customers everywhere with extra kindness. Miriam's always been a strong proponent of building your own local community and connecting with your customers. That's what drives business and, is just being a good person. She's very much a social activist and a proponent. I love that about Miriam. She believes you should look everywhere for supply chain gaps. Obviously, over the holiday season with the pandemic, there's still issues with products getting to the actual local environment. So if you are a local business, there's an opportunity that you can identify and produce in that local space and get your products and use it as an advantage that maybe some of the bigger corporations, even Amazon, doesn't have. Build back green everywhere you can. Like I said, social activist, finding opportunities to become an environmentalist with your business. She is a proponent of, having environmental green campaigns and broadcasting it on your website. Showcase the fact that you are invested in the environment. Says make your website key to customers shopping everywhere. Ultimately, the website is what you own. It's what you have control of, kind of like your email list, whether you're getting people from Google business profiles or Yelp or social media like Facebook. Depend on your website, build out your website to make that experience as positive as possible. Look for good organic SEO teachers everywhere to strengthen your website. There's a ton of resources on the web for local SEO. If you are not an expert or you're not working with an agency, find those resources and learn for yourself. A lot of them are free, especially on Moz. Look at reviews everywhere for business intelligence more than rankings. I feel strongly about this working in the review space. Reviews have so many insights into your business, what people do love about you that you should double down on, genuine reasons for you to improve and what is problematic. If you look at that reviews and you pull out those insights, not only can they help your copy on your website to sell to more customers, but can help you fix your business. Take a look at it. And then finally, look for silver linings everywhere and share them with your community. There are problems out there, obviously with the pandemic and with COVID, but there are silver linings as well. Miriam lists them out. It's a great article. Check out all of her good work. Thank goodness for Miriam because she just consistently represents the local SEO community so well. Chris Green put out a really cool self-assessment sort of skills test for professional SEO. So when you are thinking about how you want to improve in 2022, there's a range of different categories that you might want to focus on. Chris lays it out really effectively to build one of those kind of web graphs. The categories that he says to self-evaluate and be honest, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you actually really need to work on? Whether that be communication, content, team management, tech SEO, links and link building, reporting and analysis, or site migrations. Figure out what that is, what you can really make a top 10 out of a 10 skill, and then head over to Aleda Solis's learningseo.io. That's an incredible resource, speaking of learning, where you can improve on any of those categories. Joe Youngblood, right at the end of the year, December 31st, put out his roundup of the best SEO research articles that were done over the course of 2021. A lot of really great ones in there. What I will say with SEO research is it's always kind of insights that you'll take directionally. None of it is going to be prescriptive just because Google is always a moving target and not all research articles present the methodology that makes the most sense. That said, I think it is great insights to try to identify correlation and have that impact your strategic approach to SEO. But in the article, Joe, found a bunch of studies, whether it's like an Ahrefs link building study by Patrick Stox, or Dr. Pete's Moz studies, or even Ben Fisher's local SEO studies. A lot of great to look into there. Check those out. So this week there was episode 2 of Martin Splitt's Google Search Central YouTube series, SEOs and Devs. Awesome little interviews with a bunch of experts in the field. This week he talked JavaScript SEO and asking the right questions of your devs, and being okay that you don't know what you don't know, and that's why it's important to ask questions. There are no dumb questions. This week he had his guest, OneLeaf founder Bartosz Gorolowicz. Hopefully I pronounced that right, Bartosz. Sorry if I didn't. Excellent discussion. And next week on Wednesday, our own Mike King from iPullrank is going to be on there with Martin as well, talking more SEO and dev stuff. We'll definitely mention that on the next SEO Weekly, but keep your eyes peeled for that channel. Each of those videos are great interviews. I love what Martin is doing there. Okay, and so technically it's a Twitter thread, but Brodie Clark did a fantastic roundup of a bunch of different new SEO tools, as well as SEO tools that it added some really amazing features that you can start using right away. Some are free, some are paid, but I think Brodie did a great job of kind of listing these out for you to investigate and make your own evaluation. So what were those? Well, you had keywords by intent, which is a new feature by SEMrush. You have compare estimated organic traffic, which is by Ahrefs. Analyze website title links by Zippy SEO. And speaking of which, I'll mention in a second, but Cyrus Shepard was on the Rankable podcast yesterday to talk all about rewriting titles by Google. So that's coming. We have compare page speed at keyword level from Redico, updated versions of Google's actual page speed insights. So that's Google's tool. Perform keyword research at scale via Keyword Insights. Google Sheets templates for SEO tasks via Andrew Charlton. Extract data from Google's People Also Ask feature. This was by Abi Anil. Extract insights from Google search results with Through from Samuel Schmidt. And the content brief generator by Tevfik Mert Ezigolu. I totally butchered your name. I'm sorry, Tevfik Mert Azizoglu. There we go. That's better, I think. Sorry, Tevfik, but awesome, dude. Fantastic tools. Check them out. Getting much more complicated when it comes to SEO, trying to do a lot of search intent or really dig deep into strategy. That's what a lot of these features allow you to do. Check them out. Awesome list, Brodie. And so finally, a couple days ago, Yoast, which has been an SEO plugin for WordPress, announced that they are releasing an app for Shopify, which is a really big deal. With Shopify being basically the #1 e-commerce CMS these days, it makes sense that Yoast would produce a tool that would allow SEOs and just small business owners to improve the on-page experience and visibility and SEO of their own websites. To launch this, they're putting together a really great event on January 20th in concert with Shopify. There are going to be a ton of great speakers like Kevin Indig and Lily Ray, and our own Mike King is going to be there as well. So check that out, but that tool should be available and you can start using it on your website. Way to go, Yoast. And finally, Rankable. We had our first episode of 2022 yesterday. I had Cyrus Shepard, who is the co-founder of Zippy. He also, wrote for Moz for a ton of years. Zippy is a really cool tool that helps you monitor your titles on SERPs based on your URLs. For those who aren't familiar, a few months ago, Google started aggressively rewriting the titles regardless of what was on your title tag. They might pull it from H2s or from text on your website. And so that was problematic, especially at scale for a lot of website developers and SEOs. So I chatted with Cyrus and we discussed, how he thinks the fallout is going, what the consequences are, what you can do about it or pay attention. Great episode there. And so next Thursday, I'm having a product manager and brand ambassador from Ahrefs, Patrick Stox, on to talk technical SEO, how to prioritize it, what to prioritize in technical SEO. I'm really looking forward to that. You can register for that in the description link below as well. That's it. It's been a lot of content. We are back in 2022 in full force. I hope you have your strategy plan for SEO. We've got a lot coming out at iPullrank that I'm really excited about. Can't wait to see you again. If you enjoy this ridiculous video series that I do every week, please subscribe, like it, share it, leave us a comment. Tell me how you really feel. Tell me how you really feel. I appreciate it. I appreciate you watching. I hope you have a great rest of your month. We'll be back every week. My name is Garrett Sussman of iPullrank. We'll catch you later.